Good afternoon and happy Molina Monday. Today, I'm going to tell you about the number one secret the Fed is not telling you. But before we get started, you have to understand something you may have heard in the news about the economy lately, especially today, called tapering. And you need to understand the relationship between the price of mortgage-backed securities and interest rates, or else you won't even understand that the Fed is lying to you in the first place. And unfortunately, you will not understand the future of the real estate market, like so many quote unquote real estate professionals out there right now. And if understanding the future of the real estate market is important to you, then you need to pay attention, or else you will regret it. Let's get started. The Merriam-Webster definition of tapering is to diminish gradually. Very simple. And when the Fed refers to tapering, they are talking about a gradual decrease in the purchase of mortgage-backed securities. And mortgage rates are determined by the mortgage-backed security bond. And all it is supply and demand. Just think of a Super Bowl ticket. You have Super Bowl tickets to sell, and as there's more people willing to buy those Super Bowl tickets, the price goes up. And then you hit an equilibrium in which you can make the most on your money at that supply. So that's basically how mortgage rates work. Mortgage rates are determined by the price of the mortgage-backed security bond. So what the Federal Reserve is doing is they keep announcing since back in December that they will be buying $40 billion a month in mortgage-backed securities. So there's a lot of buying pressure pushing up the prices of mortgage-backed securities. And as we know, when mortgage-backed security pricing goes up, mortgage rates come down. They have an inverse correlation. So the more the Fed buys, the lower mortgage rates remain. Now that you understand this, you can now understand the number one secret that the Fed is not telling you. Let's do some math. The Fed has been saying since March 2020 that they are buying $40 billion worth of mortgage-backed securities a month. They started last year in March, so that's 10 months in 2020 worth of buying. That's $400 billion, right? That's an awful lot of money. But did they really buy $400 billion? Nope, they did not. You know what they bought? They bought $2 trillion. They bought half of the mortgage market. They purchased nearly 50% of the mortgage market. This year, the numbers are very similar. They say they're buying $40 billion in 2021. So after 6 months, you would think that's $240 billion, right? But that's wrong. They have purchased over $680 billion in mortgage-backed securities over the past 6 months, which puts them on pace to purchase $1.37 trillion this year. That's 3 times the amount they announced they were going to do this year and 5 times the amount they announced in 2020. It is insane the amount of buying they are doing. And by the way, this is data coming directly from the number one mortgage-backed security economist in America, the owner of Mortgage-Backed Security Highway, Barry Habib. So what the Fed is doing that they're not telling you is that, yes, they are buying $40 billion a month outright in mortgage-backed securities, but they have a huge balance sheet of holdings from their previous purchases of which they receive principal payments. Or when someone refinances or sells their home, they would receive that money. And they've been taking all of it and buying more mortgage-backed securities at an average of $100 billion per month combined, not $40 billion. And it's really important as a real estate professional to see how they're not counting that. And it makes you think, what is going to happen when the Fed does eventually step out from doing all these purchases? Because as of this year, they are on pace to purchase over 43% of the mortgage market. Here's what's going to happen. They are eventually going to taper. The part that they're going to taper is not on the overall $680 billion in the past 6 months. It would be on the $40 billion a month. So here's what a taper might look like. The Fed's going to say, oh, we're going to cut back 25%, which is $10 billion per month. But that's only on the new. They're going to keep reinvesting. So that would change the number from $680 billion to $620 billion over the past 6 months. That's what the 25% taper would look like. It's just smoke and mirrors. That's what the Fed is doing. So would they lie to you? The answer is yes. Now, what you've all been waiting for is, how the hell does this affect you? Look, a lot of people are worried that rates are going to go up in the near future. And some people are worried that because of this, people are going to be less interested in buying a home. The truth is the government could taper 25% on the 40 billion. In fact, they could taper all of it and they would still buy close to 1 trillion in mortgage-backed securities over a 12-month period, despite tapering, despite inflation, which is a historical anomaly simply thanks to the fact that the Fed wants to keep kicking the can down the road, and the Fed will not stop their reinvestment strategy on the balance sheet, which means interest rates are going to remain at very attractive levels for anyone buying a home. And now you know exactly why rates are going to remain very favorable. And honestly, what the Fed is doing is a great thing for anyone in real estate, because real estate is going to remain one of the best hedges against inflation. And when you can lock in on real estate with low rates like they are now and will be in the foreseeable future and a low down payment, your mortgage payment remains the same. Meanwhile, the value of your home goes up, just like everything else around you. Meanwhile, you're making a payment that dropped in inflation-adjusted dollars, meaning you're truly maximizing your rate of return. Meanwhile, everyone else that's renting is getting hammered because their income hasn't changed, but their rent went up 14% across the nation. Anyways, that's all for now, folks. If you learned something new, send me a referral, share this video, and stay tuned because my next video is going to be about real estate and inflation. Don't forget to kick ass. Have an amazing Molina Monday, and I'll see you soon. Molina out.